Welcome to the 2026 State of the Region of Niagara, recorded here at the Sheraton Falls View and powered by Penn Financial Credit Union. Thank you sincerely for joining us today and for finding your seats. Your presence here reflects our shared commitment to Niagara's future, and we are grateful. Let us start out with a land acknowledgement. Before we begin, let us acknowledge that the land on which we gather is the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe and Haudenosaunee people. With gratitude and humility, we recognize their enduring connection to this land. We offer our respect to Indigenous communities, past and present, and acknowledge the importance of continuing to deepen our understanding and honor Indigenous histories, cultures, and traditions. For those I have not yet met, my name is Mishka Balsam, and I'm proud to serve the Greater Niagara Chamber of Commerce along with my incredible team. Many of them you would have met today. Over the past several years, Niagara has experienced significant change, and it's clear that change is not slowing down. Economically, politically, and structurally, we're navigating a period of transformation that is reshaping how we live, work, and lead. Moments like this challenge regions, but they also define them. Change requires us to think differently. It requires adaptability, it requires collaboration and intention. Our responsibility is not simply to react to change, but to shape the ways that strengthens our communities, support our businesses, and positions Niagara for long-term prosperity. Niagara has always risen to meet pivotal moments. The work before us now is to ensure that continued change works for everyone who calls this region home. I'm going to give you just a couple of housekeeping items just to make it easier. If you are sharing your insights today on social media, we invite you to use the hashtag #StateOfNiagara. We also invite you to make use of the quiet room, generously provided by the YMCA of Niagara. It is available for reflection, prayer, or simply a moment to recharge. And we want to thank YMCA of Niagara for the leadership in creating inclusive and supportive environments. If you're interested in finding it, if you exit through these doors, go straight and then turn right. It's very easy to find, and there's lots of signage. Please know that today is recorded by your TV, and as you're hearing some opening remarks, we actually invite you to start with the salad at your table. So please don't wait. We need to move this through here. So thank you for that. But the event today that we have is actually presented in partnership with a number of associations, and we're really proud to have them by our side. The Chambers of Commerce for Grimsby and District, Lincoln, West Lincoln, and Niagara-on-the-Lake. The Niagara Association of Realtors, the Niagara Construction Association, the Niagara Home Builders Association, and the Niagara Industrial Association. A round of applause for bringing all of us together. And now, please direct your attention to the screen for a message from the Niagara Association of Realtors and West Lincoln Chamber of Commerce.
Are you looking to buy or sell a home in Niagara? Of course you are. You're watching this video. Look, we all know Niagara is the place to be, but do you know who knows Niagara better than anyone? Realtors. Niagara Realtors know Niagara. That is all 12 municipalities, each with their own specific quirks and districts. There is a distinct difference between Welland and Wainfleet. When I say port, you say...
George! Oh, sorry. I thought you said Fort Erie.
You get the picture. See, Niagara is both blue-collar and white-collar. The grape grower and the grape drinker. Or both. Or both. Niagara is an amazing place to live, work, and play. We are passionate about living here, so we want to see that passion manifest itself in our buyers and sellers. When you use a Niagara Realtor, you are utilizing the experience of someone who wants to set you up for a win. After all, we're going to be neighbors.
Niagara Realtors know Niagara. Use a local Niagara Realtor.
Being part of the West Lincoln business community is powerful. We have such a strong and driven group of entrepreneurs here in West Lincoln that it inspires me every day to go above and beyond.
Our motivations for joining the Chamber were we wanted to be more connected with other local businesses, and the Chamber does host a lot of events that help connect businesses to businesses.
I feel it's really important for businesses to be connected and be involved. The community is only as good as the effort that you put into it. Well, a new business or a local business that's coming to West Lincoln, just like when we were young and growing up here, we needed to find out what was available, how to do business in town, what it looks like and feels like. And to be able to have those resources makes a big difference in getting started.
If you're considering getting involved in the Chamber, I would say just go ahead and do it. From the networking events to the membership directory to the regular meetings, there are so many opportunities to find good resources in your local community through the Chamber.
I think being part of the Chamber has really helped Standpack, and it's made us stronger. It has provided relationships with other businesses to help us through problems and to help us grow.
If you're thinking about joining the Chamber of Commerce, join us. It's well worth it. You'll learn a lot, you'll grow a lot, and you'll also help your local community.
Being part of the Chamber where there's so many other businesses that are looking to do great things, it's inspiring. And I'm so excited and glad to be part of this organization.
Thank you so very much. Please join me in a round of applause to all of our partners. And it is my honor to recognize elected officials who have joined us today. MPP Sam Oosterhoff, table 3, right here. Staff with the offices of MP Tony Baldinelli and MPP Wayne Gates. Mayors Frank Campion with Welland, Jim Diodati, Niagara Falls, Sandra Easton, Lincoln, Sherry Ganan, West Lincoln, Brian Grant, Wainfleet, Jeff Jordan, Grimsby, Marvin Junkin, Pelham, Wayne Redekop, Fort Erie, Terry Ugolini, Thorold, and Lord Mayor Gary Zalepa for Niagara-on-the-Lake, along with regional councillors Pat Kiokio, Barbara Greenwood, Rob Foster, Tom Encina, Michelle Seaburn, Tim Wayland, Albert Witteveen, and of course our guest of honor, Regional Chair Bob Gale, along with councillors from across all of Niagara's municipalities. Thank you for your service and your dedication to this region. We're deeply appreciative of our sponsors who support and making this day today possible. Penn Financial Credit Union, Niagara College, Walker Industries, Brock University, FedCap Canada, GTA Strategies, Electra Utilities, Enbridge Gas, Ridley College, Bridges Niagara Immigrant and Refugee Services, Cron, Hooper Ports, the University of Niagara Falls, YMCA of Niagara, Remax Niagara Realty, Critelli's Fine Furniture, Sheraton Falls View, UTV, 610 CKDB, Soundbox Productions, Dream 105.7, and to all of you, your commitment to Niagara's future is sincerely valued. Thank you. To begin, please join me in welcoming Charisse Gale, CEO of Penn Financial Credit Union, a respected leader in Niagara's financial sector and a champion of community growth and resilience.
Did you
Let's
know
start out with a
your
short
dollar
video.
does more in Niagara with Penn Financial? And you get the same benefits and rates, except we get to know you better, as true neighbors do. From supporting local businesses and charities to journeying with our members, helping them be financially well through all the stages of their lives. Real change, powered by you. We are where Niagara banks. Penn Financial, Niagara's truly local credit union.
Good morning, everyone. How you doing today? Good morning. It is very wonderful to be here with you today. On behalf of Penn Financial Credit Union, we're honored to be the presenting sponsor of today's lunch and State of the Region. As you saw in the video, Penn Financial is guided by something very close to our hearts: improving lives and strengthening communities. It's simple, it's meaningful, and especially at a time like this, it's a reminder of what connects all of us across Niagara. There's no doubt that right now our region is having some pretty big conversations, fair? About how we grow, how we govern, and how we shape Niagara's future. There are, dare I say, a lot of viewpoints in the room today, and that's okay. It's actually really healthy. It means that you care deeply, that we all care deeply about Niagara's future, and that's what gives me the most confidence. Behind every opinion, every debate, every idea is a shared desire for a strong and vibrant Niagara, one where people feel supported, where businesses can thrive, and where families can build their lives. At Penn Financial, we don't take positions on governance structures, but we do take position on people, their well-being, their financial confidence, and the communities they call home. Our mission is to create shared prosperity for our members through our financial advice and services. Our vision is a Niagara where individuals, families, and businesses cooperate for a prosperous tomorrow. And we know at Penn Financial that we cannot achieve that alone. It takes partnership, collaboration, and the collective energy of the incredible organization and leaders who are here with us today. Our Penn Financial values of respect, trust, cooperation, and accountability guide us in moments like this. They remind us that community building is not about having identical opinions, it's about sharing intentions. It's about showing up with heart, listening with respect, and staying focused on what matters most, the people of Niagara. So, as we enjoy this lunch together and we reflect on where we're headed as a region, I hope we can also take a moment to think about what makes Niagara truly awesome. Its passion, its resilience, and its unwavering commitment to community. On behalf of everyone at Penn Financial, thank you for the work that you do each and every day to uplift our communities. And thank you to the GNCC for bringing us together today and allowing for this conversation about Niagara's future. Thank you very much.
Greetings from Ridley College. I want to thank the Greater Niagara Chamber of Commerce and offer warm congratulations to Regional Chair Bob Gale on his appointment. We are grateful for your leadership and for your commitment to the Niagara community. It is always an honor to come together and reflect on our shared contributions to the health and well-being of the region. For more than 135 years, Ridley College has been a proud member of the Niagara community. We are a junior kindergarten to grade 12 independent school here in St. Catharines, home to more than 870 students from across Niagara, across Canada, and indeed around the world, representing 65 different nationalities. Today, I'm speaking to you from the Jack Alott Squash Center, a place that will be buzzing with excitement this summer. We are proud to be co-hosting the 2026 World Junior Squash Championships from July 20th to the 31st, alongside our partners at White Oaks. This international event will bring the world's most talented young squash players to Niagara, and we're honored to play a role in welcoming them to our beautiful region. Our squash facility is not only a home for our students, but it's also a space for the wider community. We're pleased to offer memberships to the Ridley College Rackets Club, giving community members access to our courts and our facilities. We welcome players at all levels to take part, stay active, and enjoy this vibrant space. Throughout our history, Ridley has remained committed to serving Niagara and being an active partner in the region. Our campus continues to host community events, sports tournaments, youth programming, arts partnerships, and summer camps. Our school motto, Terrar Dum Prosum, which means, may I be consumed in service, inspires us to contribute meaningfully to the life of our community. Last year alone, our students committed more than 11,000 hours to serving the local community and raised significant funds in support of important causes. Students participate weekly in meaningful hands-on service experiences alongside our community partners. They've supported organizations such as Jillian's Place and Community Care and the Niagara Children's Centre, among many others. These efforts are a direct expression of Ridley's mission to inspire flourishing lives to transform our globe. Education extends far beyond the classroom, we believe, and we also believe deeply that community engagement through service inspires flourishing lives. As part of our commitment to the broader community, I'm also thrilled to invite you to the Flourish Conference, which is being hosted here on campus from August 27th to the 28th. 2 days of thoughtful dialogue about the science of positive leadership and organizational well-being. In 2026, we remain dedicated to strengthening the Niagara region through service, partnership, learning, sport, and community engagement. Ridley is very proud to call Niagara home and to help our region continue to thrive. Thank you.
Thank you very much to Penn Financial, Electra, and Ridley College. And now it is my great pleasure to welcome Chuck McShane, Executive Officer of the Niagara Home Builders Association, a strong voice for residential construction and housing supply across our region, to come to the podium. Chuck?
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for having me here today. On behalf of the Niagara Home Builders Association, it's a pleasure to join you once again at this year's State of the Region address. I'd like to begin by extending a sincere thanks to Mishka Balsam for her continued leadership and for strengthening the connections between industry, government, and our community. Your work ensures that today's conversations translate into meaningful action. I would also like to welcome our new regional chair, Bob Gale. Bob, I appreciate your commitment to bringing partners across Niagara together and your dedication to moving this region forward. And to the staff of the Greater Niagara Chamber of Commerce, thank you for organizing this important event and for being such a strong voice for business and economic growth across Niagara. As we all know, government reform is at the forefront of discussion. As the voice of the residential construction sector for more than 70 years, The NHBA supports a path forward grounded not by haste, but by true, accurate, and factual data, as well as practical solutions. Solutions that benefit all residents, all businesses, and all municipalities across the region. Housing affordability has become one of the defining challenges of our time. To get the train back on track, we must work together to address the barriers that drive up costs long before construction begins. Rising development charges, lengthy approval timelines, and infrastructure constraints. Ontario now faces the most unaffordable housing market in the country, driven by high land costs, chronic undersupply, and excessive taxation. Taxation that accounts for 35% of the cost of a new home. Without meaningful intervention, 40,000 jobs are at risk across the province in the next 6 months, including many right here in Niagara. Housing is not only a social issue, it's an economic one. When people can't afford to live here, businesses struggle to attract workers. Our labor force shrinks, and the vibrancy of our communities is diminished. Addressing this challenge requires collaboration across all levels of government, industry, and organizations like the GNCC and the NHBA that bring diverse voices to the same table. We are committed to being part of the solution, advocating for policies that support smart growth, responsible development, and real affordability for Niagara residents. As an industry advocate, we are dedicated to working toward a practical and balanced resolution. We applaud the new chair for his commitment to smart growth and true affordability for all Niagara residents. We look forward to working together to ensure Niagara remains a region where people can live, work, and build their futures. Thank you.
At FedCap Canada, we know that finding the right job isn't easy. It can be frustrating, and at times it can be an overwhelming journey. Whether you're new to Canada or you've just been out of the workforce and aren't sure where to turn next, we are here to help. Our team, alongside our network of Employment Ontario service providers, work tirelessly to get you ready for the job that's right for you. From resume building and interview skills to certifications and training, we are here to support you in every way possible, ensuring that any barriers you are facing can be overcome. We know that your job is out there, and we are here to not only help you find it, but make sure you're prepared to succeed now and into the future.
Thank you very much. So first of all, my personal thanks to Chuck McShane. I didn't pay him to make these nice comments, but it does feel really good on a day like today to hear this. So thank you so very much for that and for your partnership and being by our side as we're trying to advocate for all the things that we think are right for Niagara. Today, you have the agenda in your program, so we will actually move over to the keynote speak in a second. So if I could just ask you to, it is our shared hope that we have a really constructive and very respectful dialogue today. Many of you have submitted questions which we will address in the fireside chat. So if you don't see them addressed in the keynote, we will try to get to them in the fireside chat. And as we're only together here for a couple of hours, if we're not able to take questions from the floor, but we actually have cards available that allow you to ask questions or comments for the chair or their staff, and we were happy to collect them and pass them on as well. But please know that we're really committed to the dialogue which will take place during the fireside chat. And on that note, I would like to ask and welcome Jordan Sherlock, CEO of the Niagara Industrial Association and advocate for manufacturing excellence and industrial growth in Niagara, to come forward to introduce our guest of honor. Jordan.
Good morning, good afternoon. On behalf of the Niagara Industrial Association, thank you very much for the opportunity to be here today, and thank you, Michigan team. I echo Mr. McShane's comments about the GNCC hosting today. Manufacturing has long been a cornerstone of Niagara's economy. It supports tens of thousands of high-quality jobs, drives innovation, anchors our tax base, and sustains a broad network of small and medium-sized businesses across the region. But as we look ahead to 2026, our sector is navigating one of the most complex operating environments in recent memory. We are competing in a global marketplace defined by uncertainty and rapid change. Trade instability, geopolitical tension, rising input costs, workforce pressures, and technological transformation are not abstract concepts for our members, they are daily realities. In this environment, what do manufacturers need the most? More than ever, our sector needs consistency, clarity, and partnership, especially at the local level. Consistency in policy and decision-making. Manufacturers need confidence that the rules of the game will remain stable. Predictable timelines, transparent processes, and a reliable regulatory framework are not luxuries, they are prerequisites for investment. Clarity in how decisions are made, whether it's development approvals, infrastructure planning, industrial land policy or taxation, uncertainty adds cost, and cost erodes competitiveness. And partnership, true partnership. Manufacturers are not asking for special treatment, they are asking for a competitive environment. When we compete globally, we are often up against other jurisdictions that move quickly, tax differently, and actively court investments with aggressive incentives. If Niagara wants to remain a viable place for businesses to sustain and grow, we must sharpen our competitive edge locally. That means a renewed commitment to red tape reduction, streamlining approvals, and modernizing processes wherever possible. It means thoughtful, strategic use of incentives to attract investment and de-risk expansion. And it means a serious conversation about taxation and cost structures that impact industrial competitiveness. For some businesses in 2026, this will not simply be a year about growth, it will be about survival. Investment decisions are being made in boardrooms that compare Niagara not just to neighboring municipalities, but to other provinces and countries. The good news is that Niagara has extraordinary strengths, a skilled workforce, strategic location, strong infrastructure, and a collaborative business community. If we align around competitiveness and partnership, we can turn these strengths into long-term prosperity. The Niagara Industrial Association stands ready to work with all levels of government to ensure manufacturing remains a strong pillar of this region's economic future. When manufacturing succeeds, Niagara succeeds. It is now my honor to introduce the very busy of late Chair of the Niagara region, Bob Gale. A lifelong resident of Niagara, Bob has a reputation for advocating for his community and delivering results. A former police officer, Bob went on to run Gale's Gas Bar Limited for 40 years. He has spearheaded several philanthropic endeavors, including the renovation of the Greater Niagara General Hospital Emergency Room and the construction of the Gale Center. Bob has been happily married to Vera for 42 years. They have 3 amazing children, Jessica, Bobby, and Angela, and 6 beautiful grandchildren. I don't know how you do it all, sir. This is a busy life you have. Before being appointed Niagara Regional Chairman in December 2025, he was proud to serve as the chairman of the Niagara Parks Commission since April 2024. Please join me in welcoming Chair Bob Gale.
Thank you very much. So thank you for the introduction, Jordan, and thank you to your members and for all they do for our great economy. Wow, look at this room. What an amazing job the GNCC does for Niagara. Everyone, please, let's give them a round of applause. So I want to thank all of you for coming. You have taken your time out of your day. Time is money. As a longtime business owner, I appreciate that. I also appreciate that you invest your time and effort into building prosperity for us all, each and every day. You are the lifeblood of our communities. Thank you for your civic engagement, your hard work, and your commitment. I would also like to recognize my family who are joining me here today. You had to put them right in front of me, didn't you? I would not be here without their support, and I can't wait to hear their critiques on the drive home. That's a joke. I would also like to recognize and remember the passing of my predecessor, Jim Bradley. He was a trailblazer and served the Niagara dutifully and with pride. Now, more than ever, we need to encourage young people to take on public service. Well, not much has happened over the past few weeks, so I'm not too sure what I'll be speaking about today. It's been pretty boring. I joke again. So thanks, everyone. Now, I was asked to come here for two reasons. I'm here as the chair of the Niagara region to provide a state of the region. I'm here to introduce myself. I'm going to do both separately. Let's talk about the state of the region first. This will be short. I've only been regional chair for 2 months. They have been busy, to say the least. You know that. Niagara region provides a wide range of public services, and it's been a pleasure to meet the people who do that work. Some of them you see, many you don't. Social services are important. You won't know these services as well as some people do. We dedicate a lot of our time and resources for caring for people who need help. When I was at the Niagara Children's Center, I was so proud to see my grandson featured on one of the elevators in the facility. They have really helped my family, and I know they have helped so many other families in Niagara. I want to thank them. Most of you know we wrapped up the budget process recently. I want to thank Councillor Easton. I don't know if I should be thanking her, but she tabled a motion that allowed some time to analyze and see if there were any efficiencies that I could add to the budget process. It caused me to go out and see the region from a different aspect because now I had a Niagara chairman on my forehead. That motion passed by 1 vote. Everyone knows that I'm always asking what the implications are for the taxpayers, the people we serve. With uncertainty internationally that affects us locally, we have to make sure we are being very responsible with tax dollars. Sometimes in government, it's easy to forget that there's only one taxpayer and that they are feeling squeezed from angles right now. If there is a chance for us to help relieve some of that pressure, it's our duty to do it. And I'm proud that we were able to achieve that goal. We didn't hit our 3.5% target, and believe me, I wasn't happy about that, but we managed to lower the tax levy increase from 6.98 to 6.3%. Still too high. That represents over $2.8 million in savings, though. I also worked hard with Niagara Regional Police Service Chief Bill Forty to decrease the police budget by $850,000. Thank you, Bill, for working with me. We found those savings while maintaining police services and public safety. And I would like to thank the Police Board for agreeing to those savings at their meeting last night. The bottom line is this: we need to deliver infrastructure investment, and I take that responsibility seriously. At the end of the day, money is better placed in the pockets of our residents and the businesses that employ them and drive our economy. Speaking of driving our economy, Niagara continues to experience strong population growth. From 2024 to 2025, Niagara's labor force grew by approximately 4,500 people. Nearly 5,800 jobs were created. And the unemployment rate declined from 7.5% to 6.9% despite ongoing global trade pressures. Employment growth has been broad-based with gains across healthcare, professional services, construction, wholesale and retail trade, information and culture, recreation, and manufacturing. This mix of sectors continues to support a stable and competitive regional economy. The region is home to more than 14,000 employer businesses, and approximately 85% of those employ between 1 and 20 people. These businesses play a critical role in job creation, innovation, and local economic growth. We are struggling to build the infrastructure that we need. The region is carrying a capital backlog in the order of $2.7 billion. So I'm going to digress a little bit. $2.7 billion, where do we find that? We need help from the government. But before we can get help from the government, before I go to Toronto and start talking to people and ask for money, we got to get our house in order. That means everybody's got to pull on this. I mean everybody, because I'm not going up there and have them come back to me and say, you're wasting money here, you're wasting money there. It's my credibility. That's my little lecture. We have been pushing core infrastructure costs into the future, where they will land on your tax bill with even higher tax hikes, more debt, or both if nothing changes. The mayor of Niagara Lake made a point the other day, and he's totally correct, that I didn't vote on some money going to infrastructure over the years, and I didn't. I was negligent on that, so I have to wake up to this too. I want to be crystal clear here. We are in very uncertain economic times and profound challenges. There is only so much that we can know about the future. The commitment I make to you is that I will always do the thing that is right for businesses and taxpayers, not politicians. I think you saw it this week. Where's Jamie? Jamie, can you come up here for a second, please? Hang tight for a second. This isn't me. I don't wear this. Thanks. I'm sorry. I didn't want to wear that in the future. No disrespect to the office. Just now it's Bob talking. To be super clear for those who are watching, for me to be explicit, which is me speaking as Bob Gale, not as Regional Chair Gale. I am a proud lifelong Niagara resident. If you haven't heard, I wrote to Municipal Affairs and Housing Minister Rob Black and stated my intention to propose governance reform here in Niagara. Some would say I opened a can of worms. I would say that I simply pointed to the elephant in the room. A life in business, government, and public service has taught me that it is best to address the things that hold us back. People resist change. I understand that. Businesses that resist change do not survive. Blockbuster and Netflix are always a good example that we can all understand. Most of you entrepreneurs already understand that. We need to adapt to survive, and we need to innovate and take initiative if we want to be competitive. My proposal got a reaction. I get that. Last night, Regional Council passed a motion for a governance review. I'll quote the motion. It said, address areas of duplication and improve service efficiency based on data, a business case with financial analysis and public consultation, including local area municipalities commencing this term of council. That's how governments say that they are going to take a good look at how to improve services and better value for taxpayers. I have heard from some unhappy people this week, but I make no apologies, because it's about time that Regional Council passed that motion. I was born and raised in Niagara Falls, where I started my career as a police officer. That was back in the 70s, so long ago. When my dad asked me to take over the oil business, I honored that request. I raised my 3 amazing children and my beautiful wife in St. David's. We lived in Niagara Lake for 40 years before we moved to St. Catharines, where we live now. I'm telling you this because I want you to know that I love the Niagara region. I have spent countless hours driving around with my wife through Effingham to Chippewa, Ridgeway to Virgil, Merton, and everywhere else. My wife and I like to go for drives. When I retired, I wanted to bring back to my community, and I wanted to give back to my community and serve to make it better. That's why I ran for the office. Really, it was to get on my wife's hair. You know, in marriage, you can't be around each other all the time. See, long-time married people understand that. As I get on in age, I think more and more about the future we are leaving for our grandchildren. I see a pattern of government that worries me. We are responding to challenges by increasing taxes, adding regulation, and expanding government. We are doing it all the time when wage growth has slowed, costs have gone up, and competition has become increasingly fierce. You got to remember that little barbershop at the corner is paying our taxes. And if we lose those private business, we're dead in the water. I fear that our municipal governments are not seeing the urgency that our federal and provincial leaders have recognized. Prime Minister Mark Carney has won a lot of people over by saying that what we all know is true. And I quote, Canada needs to take on major projects to strengthen our economy and address systematic challenges, and we must do it at a speed we have never seen. The urgency is understood at Queen's Park. Premier Ford is not afraid to make bold changes quickly, particularly when it comes to making sure that Ontario is competitive. I feel that urgency. I believe that many of you feel that urgency. I fear that our municipal governments need to feel that urgency more than they do. I'm not afraid to make changes. Anybody doesn't think I'm afraid. I can be ruthless on making changes, but it's got to be for the right reasons. We have 126 elected representatives for 500,000 people. Waterloo Region is bigger than us, with 700,000 people. It has less than half as many municipal politicians. Peel Region is more than 3 times larger at 1.7 million people. They have 32 municipal politicians. The City of Toronto, 2.9 million residents, served by a 26-member council. The closest comparator we have is Halifax. The regional municipality of Halifax has a population of 500,000 people, almost exactly the same as ours. The area it covers is 3 times larger. It is served by 16 councillors and 1 mayor. That's it. What is the right number of municipal politicians for Niagara Region? What is the right governance structure? I do not know. But it is a fair question to ask, so I asked it. And am I alone? We'll find out. But I want you to know that I will continue the question of the status quo. I will nudge and poke with urgency. I will point to the elephants in the room, and I will open a can of worms. I'm 71 years old. I'm here for the right reasons. If you don't like it, tell Doug Ford to kick me out. But I'm on a mission here, and we're going to get better, or I'm going to keep trying. And I mean that honestly. It's not in my notes. As much as businesses understand the need to innovate, and it really has here, pause for clapping there. I don't get it. I think I missed a bunch of pauses, I don't know. As much as businesses understand the need to innovate and change, they also seek stability. When we make changes, that affects services. I will want your experience to be smooth and predictable. It's not just that I want to simplify 12 different planning departments, 12 different processes, and 12 different interpretations of the Planning Act. I want to give you greater clarity so that you can make an application that is likely to get approved, because you know what we want from you. I believe we could improve service to you and meet our municipal responsibilities well if we had more predictable expectations that are easier for you to understand and meet. Simplicity, clarity, and greater efficiency would lower your costs, reduce your risks, encourage investment, and drive growth. If we look at one area alone, we need to do this. Ontario is in the middle of a housing crisis. We need to build all types of housing much faster. My grandson's here. I don't know if you'll ever own a house, Eddie, but you'll probably get money off me, eh? Okay. Meeting this demand will drive growth and create jobs. It will improve our tax base, which helps to keep our taxes low. Everyone wins, most of all, the people who need housing. What if we fail to make the needed changes? What if we stick to the status quo? If we fail to meet the demand for housing, people will suffer. Our children and grandchildren will be the first generation who can't own a home. That is a stab in the heart of the Canadian dream. Government needs to get out of the way and let the people building communities get to work. I was up in Toronto and they asked me, what do you think about government? I said, get out of our way. And you can interpret that any ways, but from a business standpoint, I start thinking that government's there to help you. That's garbage. Although you got to follow the regulations, but you know, government really, I kept saying to them, government's got to get out of the way and get us to get these plans going, get us to get the applications going, all these things. We also need to get out of the way of industry. Cutting red tape shouldn't be a catchphrase. It has to be an action we actually take. The more prosperous our economy is, the stronger our tax base is. We all know that many hands make for light work. That applies to taxes as well. Prosperity grows our tax base and lowers individual tax bills. So yes, I've had a rough ride before some councils this week. I get it, I have bullet holes. This has not been a good week. On the other hand, it's been a great week. Last night, I was sitting there thinking there's going to be change here. The mayor of Niagara Lake at the end summed it all up. You know, it opened a can of worms. Is Gary here? He's not here. Okay, sorry. I wanted to give him some credit there, but okay, you got it. The deputy Lord Mayor is going to take the credit, but he said at the end, you know, it's causing change. It's like bad comparison. I was thinking that last night. I was going to say it, but I'm going to say it now. How much did Trump bring us together as Canadians? Maybe my conversation caused us to come together and say we got to change things. Boy, I lose my spot in this when I go off on those things, but personally, I'm worried that we won't change, and I don't think I'm alone. If you feel the urgency that I feel, raise your voice. I'm not the one you have to convince. Working together, we make our region stronger, and we will make Niagara the best place to work and raise a family. So last, I want to acknowledge my older brother Keith and my sister-in-law Jan here, who are in the audience today. I also want to confirm I have followed the rules set by my family. This is the critique part. I remembered my hearing aids, and I'm smiling. My daughters say I never smile anywhere. And the hearing aids, I forgot them again this morning, and they brought them into me here. Last, I'd like to take a second to thank my oldest grandson, Eddie, for being here. Eddie, stand up, please. He does not want to be here. I had to convince him on food for being here. And I know it's boring. This is boring. Politics is boring. Business is boring unless you're making a lot of money, buddy. But regardless of that, it means something to me. Last but not least, yeah, I get broken up. Last but not least, I want to thank you again for taking the time to be here today. And I look forward to the fireside chat with Miska. And please, if you need to get me, if you need to talk to me, if there's something wrong, send an email to me. Jamie or Nick will get it, and we'll try and make things happen. I'm not saying I'm going to solve everything, but you know what I'm like. You know I'm going to try. And don't get in our way, please. So thank you, everybody.
Chair Gale, thank you so very much for these inspiring opening remarks. And I can't wait for our fireside chat and start the discussion going. So we will explore all the themes that you have mentioned. In your speech, you mentioned actually that you missed some of the pauses in your speech. So here's my admission to you. I missed mentioning Mayor Matt Cisco being in the audience today. So a round of applause for him. And if you like the format of a State of a Region or State of the City, his is being held on March 25th. So come and join us then as well. And now it is my great pleasure to welcome Dr. Leslie Rick, President and Vice Chancellor of Brock University, a leader in post-secondary education, research, talent development, and community partnership, an economic driver in our region, to the stage. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. What an amazing place to be today. It's a pleasure to be among fantastic leaders from across our region. Thank you to the Greater Niagara Chamber of Commerce for hosting this important annual event, and a very warm congratulations to you, Bob, on being appointed and for that very heartfelt and authentic State of the Region address. Chair Gale, Brock shares your vision that I've heard you articulate previously for Niagara as a top destination, a place where people from around the world want to come, they want to visit, they want to live here, they want to open companies, they want to work in the industries that we have, and from my perspective, they want to be educated. So thank you. At Brock University, we recognize the pace of change in today's economy is accelerating, as you mentioned. It's driven by automation, by artificial intelligence, shifting immigration policies, and global economic pressures that we're all very aware of. These forces are reshaping how we work, how we learn, and how you lead. Post-secondary institutions are not immune to these shifts. But at Brock, we see this as a moment of opportunity. And that's why our new strategic plan is rooted in partnership. It reflects what we've heard from local organizations, from employers, from community leaders like yourselves, that Niagara's success depends on working together, as you were saying, Chair Gale, and to grow our talent, to strengthen our economy, and to prepare for the opportunities ahead. And notice I say opportunities. I'm a glass half full person. There might be challenges, but we have opportunities. And Brock is proud to be Niagara's university, and we take that responsibility seriously. Every year, Brock generates $1.4 billion in economic impact here in Niagara, and $2.8 billion if we spread that out to Ontario. We're the second largest employer in this region. We have almost 19,000 students. If everybody showed up on our campus that worked or was associated with Brock on one given day, we'd be a small city of 26,000. We have 2,800 full-time faculty and staff, many of whom work here in Niagara and call it home. We have over 124,000 alumni from 110 different countries, and many of them now call Niagara home. As a regional anchor institution, we can help Niagara navigate the road ahead and support economic transformation. In these times of global uncertainty, Brock can be a force for stability, but most importantly, for innovation and for growth. We're driving innovation by building powerful partnerships with local industry. The Brock Niagara Validating, Prototyping, and Manufacturing Institute, which we just call VPMI because that's easier, is one example of how shared investment strengthens regional economy. It was a $14 million collaboration that brought together industry and research here in Niagara to help companies test new ideas, to problem solve, and develop the technologies that shape our region and keep it competitive. Our work with organizations like Destiny Copper, our long-standing support of the grape and wine industry through the Cool Climate Enology and Viticulture Institute, that's our Grape and Wine Institute, COVI, and our growing agritech research at the Norris Walker Research Farm, all speak to what is possible when universities, industry, and governments collaborate around shared goals. We also know that Niagara's future relies upon a strong and prepared workforce, as was mentioned. That's why every program at Brock, every program, has an experiential learning component, developed with employer input and to meet regional workforce needs. And last year, we had 622 co-op placements. So anybody in this room who hired one of our students, I thank you from the bottom of my heart. It is so important for them to be out there working with you. And we continue to do the workforce development through our professional and continuing studies offerings. We're supporting professionals in industries, keeping the economy moving every chance we get, in every way we possibly can. Because at Brock, we know that talent is the engine of innovation. And we're committed to working alongside everyone here to ensure that Niagara has innovators, has caregivers, has entrepreneurs, has the leaders of the future. So Chair Gale, we look forward to collaborating with you, and we really will work with you to build a resilient, prosperous, and future-ready Niagara. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you so very much. Just one more moment. Please welcome Kyle Chamberlain, Principal at GTA Strategies and Organization, bringing expertise in public affairs, policy, and government relations to organizations.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you very much, everybody in the room, for having us out here today, and it's a pleasure to speak with you. I had a planned introduction here, but I think Mr. Bob Gale hit the nail on the head there when I think we can all agree here that businesses are undergoing extreme challenges right now. And, you know, as Mr. Gale said, it's been a challenge. So I would like to introduce our firm, GTA Strategies. Now, before I get into what we do, I'd like to just a quick survey here, just a show of hands. Who here in this room has dealt with a government problem or a bureaucracy problem? Yeah, there we go, eh? Who here in this room could benefit from government funding, grants, things to help their business grow? I think we could all agree that we could. So this is where GTA Strategies comes in. Again, as I said, we're a lobbying and government relations firm, and this is where we help businesses like yours throughout the room thrive. We have over 200 years experience amongst our staff dealing with government issues. We deal with all three levels of government, municipal, provincial, and federal. And essentially what we do is we help people navigate the bureaucracy. We help people, you know, whether it be paperwork, whether it be lobbying your business interests. This is where we come in and try and help you get you in front of the government officials or whoever it may be to help you grow your business. You know, this experience includes our principal, Mr. Jim Karajanis. He's at table 22. We're at table 22 if you'd like to come talk to us afterwards. Jim, 26 years as an MP and 6 years as a Toronto City Councillor. So, you know, I'm sure you can imagine his Rolodex is pretty good with respect to contacts and things like that. So I'd like to get into a little bit about, you know, what we do, what services we provide. One thing I did forget to mention is that we have offices all across Canada. You know, we're based in Toronto, but we have offices out in Calgary and Western Canada, as well as offices in Greece and other locations in Europe. We help businesses get government grants and funding. So we have a team of staff who basically specialize day in, day out with finding government money out there or grants out there to help you grow your business. So if you would like to talk to us about that, we're happy to help you. Another big thing that we're dealing with right now, and as Mr. Gale said, we have a housing crisis. We help people with rezoning. So you may have land that rezoning would help unlock value. And so we help people get that land, you know, whether it be zoned for whatever it may be, to get it zoned to what you need it to be, so that you can do what you need to do in order to not only help our housing crisis, but grow your business. Myself, I have 20 years experience dealing with the Ontario Building Code and Fire Code. So we also help people get their building permits. So, you know, obviously, I don't know if you may or may not understand, but the building permit process, and Mr. Gale mentioned that, it can be extremely challenging trying to get approvals, whether it be site plan approvals or building permit approvals or rezoning approvals, and this is where we step in to help you. We know who to talk to, we know what paperwork needs to be filled out, and we can help move that process along quicker, including dealing with the architects and engineers that you may be dealing with and helping them get their message across to speed things up. Because as we know, we need to speed things up. We also help with business relations. So, you know, it may be that you want to promote your business to business, or promote your business to government officials, MPs and MPPs. We can put you in that room, and we can put something together to make your business shine and to get your name out there. Last but not least, we also deal with delegations. So we bring elected officials from other countries and bring them here and show them how you know, politics and how our systems work, so that they can bring those ideas back to their countries. And if it helps them, great. So these are the types of things that we're involved with. Last but not least, we also have a speaker's corner where we connect businesses and, you know, even conferences, things like this, with keynote speakers and former politicians who can come and speak and you know, impart their knowledge. Again, if we're at table 22, we'd be happy to talk with you about how we can help your business grow, how we can help you deal with government problems, because we all know that the quicker, time is money, and the quicker you can get things done and get your business moving and start making money and start helping the people that you want to help, the quicker we can get this economy growing and deal with the problems that we're dealing with right now in this country. So thank you very much, and I really appreciate you taking the time to listen to me today. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, and for building the bridges between the public and private sector. Please enjoy lunch. It's ready, and we will reconvene here just around 1 o'clock in about half an hour, 40 minutes. Enjoy. And join me in a round of applause for the amazing staff here at Sheridan Falls View. And now it's my pleasure to bring up Emilia Amaro, Executive Director at the Lincoln Chamber of Commerce, a committed advocate for local business and regional collaboration. Please join me in a round of applause as she's coming to the stage. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is an honor to stand before so many of you as the Executive Director of the Lincoln Chamber of Commerce. Thank you once again to Mishka and the entire Greater Niagara Chamber of Commerce team for the opportunity to be here and for creating space for conversations that aren't always simple, but they are absolutely necessary. We've heard a lot of greetings today, a lot of changes among us. There's a lot of chatter. Thank you for being here to listen and to be a part of it, because these are the rooms that matter. When business leaders, elected officials, and community partners choose to sit together and listen to one another, well, that's where the real progress happens. I'm going to continue to acknowledge the ongoing theme of today, amalgamation, and the news of possible amalgamation. I know that it's something that many of us are still quietly or extremely loudly still processing or working through it. And whether you're feeling optimistic, cautious, uncertain, or even angry, or somewhere in between, it's significant, and it impacts every single one of us, individually and collectively. Since stepping into my role at the Lincoln Chamber, I've heard a few words repeated again and again: community, collaboration, and partnership. Not as slogans, but as expectations from our communities, our politicians, our staff, and our leadership. In Lincoln, we've worked hard to modernize where it makes sense, find efficiencies where we can, and still protect the identity of what makes our community what it is. That balance hasn't happened by accident. It happened because the municipality and the chamber work together, because we talk, and because we solve things in the same room. That partnership is something that we're proud of at the chamber, and it's something that I hope continues, whatever governance model we move toward or don't. And when we attend events like these, the State of the Region, we expect to hear what's coming, we expect clarity, we expect leadership, and that's fair. But today I hope we're also choosing to hear each other, because regardless of how this unfolds, our business owners and our residents will need us to be steady. They'll need collaboration, they'll require our leadership, and they'll need us focused on solutions, not in our silos. Everyone in this room has shown what's possible when a municipality and a chamber work in alignment for the betterment of the local economy. And that example matters right now. We are in this together, and the strength of this region will depend on how well we continue to work together. And the people outside of this room are counting on us. So I am looking forward to Mishka and Chair Gale in this fireside chat and continuing this conversation today and beyond. Thank you.
And may I ask Chris Breen, Vice President of Walker Industries, the leader of Environmental Services and Sustainable Growth, to come forward, please. Thank you.
thanks to the Greater Niagara Chamber of Commerce for the opportunity to address such a great crowd. I'm going to be very brief. It's a pleasure to be here. Walker's a fifth-generation family business. It's founded in Niagara 140 years ago. Our 1,300 employees are grateful to be building a sustainable future together. I want you to know that we give every one of our employees 2 days off a year to volunteer in the community. I think last year we hit about 5,000 hours of volunteering, which was great. And we support hospitals, hospices, cancer care centers. We do our very best to give back. We give back as we move forward. We're fortunate to provide many products and services right here in Niagara, across the country, and into the United States. To name a few, we turn your waste into soils, mulch, and fertilizer. As one of Ontario's largest renewable natural gas producer, we gather methane from our landfill in Niagara Falls, and we heat and power the General Motors plant in St. Catharines through a direct pipeline. We produce or gather more methane than General Motors plant in St. Catharines needs, so now we inject directly into the Enbridge pipeline system. So every molecule of renewable natural gas that we put in displaces a molecule of fossil-based fuel. So that's a good thing for the economy, it's a great thing for the environment. So in addition to bringing that clean energy right across North America through the Enbridge pipeline system, we are also one of Ontario's largest independent producers of stone, sand, and gravel. We're providing the foundation for homes, schools, hospitals, roads, virtually everything that's built here in Niagara. We also do road construction, and we produce wax-based emulsions, and they're designed to increase the longevity of your pavement and your various building supplies. I want you to know that we're also growing, and we're growing because we have to. We need stone, sand, and gravel. We need waste management capacity in order for Niagara to grow. And these essential products and services that we deliver sustainably, reliably, and affordably are going to continue to be delivered by Walker for future generations. This growth includes our efforts to establish a new quarry in Niagara Falls and the next phase of our waste management facilities as well in Niagara Falls. So we'd like to thank all of the residents of Niagara for the privilege of serving the community. We'd also like to thank Chair Gale and all of our community leaders for their service in these challenging but very promising times. We know the future is bright, and we're proud to partner with you all as we build a sustainable future together. Thank you. May all of you and your families continue to prosper in the Great Niagara region.
I share the sentiment that the future is bright as well. And now I would like to welcome Jennifer Burham, Vice President and General Manager at Enbridge Gas, focused on reliable infrastructure and energy sustainability, to come forward. Thank you.
Mishka, for the warm introduction. It's great to be here, and thank you to the Greater Niagara Chamber of Commerce for bringing together so many leaders who care deeply about the future of this region. And thank you, Chair Gale, for sharing your priorities for the region and your passion for its success. Niagara is a region that understands energy in a very real way. For more than a century, power generated right here from the Niagara region has helped fuel Ontario's economy, and today, Ontario Power Generation's Niagara hydro stations produce enough energy to power close to 1 million homes each year. Energy isn't an abstract concept here. It's part of the region's identity and its economic foundation. And that foundation supports one of the most diverse and resilient regional economies in the province. Manufacturing alone supports roughly 17,000 jobs and remains the single largest contributor to Niagara's economy. Agriculture supports another 24,000 jobs and contributes more than $1.7 billion annually, with this region producing 2/3 of Ontario's tender fruit and the vast majority of Canada's grapes and wine. Add to that a tourism sector that welcomes millions of visitors each year, and you have an economy that depends on energy systems that are reliable, affordable, and built to perform. At Enbridge Gas, we see firsthand how critical reliable, affordable energy is for that success. And for Niagara's greenhouse operators, dependable natural gas isn't just an input. It's what allows crops to grow year-round, businesses to stay competitive, and local jobs to thrive. When energy works the way it should, businesses can focus on what they do best: growing, investing, and hiring. And we've seen this clearly over the last winter. When demand spikes, when weather turns extreme, when the energy system is under stress, it isn't ideology that keeps homes warm, hospitals running, and your businesses online. It's reliable infrastructure. And in Ontario, natural gas infrastructure is doing some heavy lifting. Affordability and reliability are drivers of business competitiveness in Niagara. As this region continues to expand, businesses need confidence that the energy infrastructure is in place to support growth and not slow it down. Competitive, predictable energy costs also help businesses manage expenses, plan for the long term, and stay strong in an increasingly challenging economic environment. Natural gas isn't just a fuel, it's an enabler. It supports your businesses and community priorities, including productivity, investment attraction, job creation, affordability, and economic growth. And at Enbridge Gas, we're focused on delivering that natural gas that supports your region's productivity and keeps Niagara competitive today and well into the future. We're proud to serve the businesses and communities that make this region such a vital, thriving part of Ontario's economy, and we value the partnerships we've built in Niagara. So thank you again for the opportunity for having us here today, and we hope you enjoy the rest of the program.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Mary Moradikian, and I am the Interim Executive Director at Bridges Niagara Immigrant and Refugee Services. At Bridges Niagara, we provide a full continuum of services from settlement to resettlement, supporting newcomers at every stage of their journey. Through our resettlement programs RAP, we support government-assisted refugees with immediate needs such as housing, income support, life skills, and community navigation. As families stabilize, they transition seamlessly into our settlement services, where we offer orientation, language support, employment pathways, mental health support, community connections, and long-term integration. We were also successful in receiving funding from Immigration Refugee Citizenship Canada to deliver case management services, allowing us to provide intensive trauma-informed and coordinated support to individuals and families with complex needs. All our services are grounded in our EDIAR framework: equity, diversity, inclusion, accessibility, anti-racism, and reconciliation. This framework guides how we design programs, build partnerships, and ensure culturally responsive, client-centered service delivery. Beyond direct services, Bridges Niagara also operates social enterprise initiatives, including professional translation services in multiple languages to support community partners and businesses. We have also revitalized our Robbie Hall as a welcoming community space, available for meetings, conferences, and events. In addition to our core services and social enterprise initiatives, Bridges Niagara is also leading and participating in innovative projects that respond to emerging labor market and community needs. One example of this is our partnership with the Progressive Intercultural Community Services Society, PICS, to deliver the Intercultural Pan-Canadian Green Buildings and Retrofits Training Project. And now, we will hear more about this important project directly from PICS.
PICS is proud to be partners with Bridges Niagara on the Intercultural Green Buildings and Retrofits Training Project. This is a national initiative in partnership between 8 service organizations and 1 training partner, serving 6 provinces and 1 territory, including British Columbia, Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, Ontario, New Brunswick, and Northwest Territories. The project supports individuals in upskilling or reskilling in careers in the green buildings and retrofit sector through micro-credential training and employment support. Bridges Niagara has been a valued partner of PICS, and we continue to admire their commitment and dedication to the community. Deeply appreciate their partnership and the work that they do, and we look forward to the great impact of this project.
The Pan-Canadian Green Buildings and Retrofits Micro-Credential is a federally funded initiative rooted in a shift that is reshaping how we think about buildings, infrastructure, and long-term performance. In some sectors, that evolution is well underway. In others, it is just beginning to surface. Developed to ensure that knowledge grows alongside that shift, this micro-credential offers a structured way to build and expand knowledge within your current team, or to hire graduates who have completed the program and have developed knowledge in sustainable building and retrofit principles. As the way we build and maintain our spaces continues to change, investing in knowledge becomes a deliberate choice. This initiative provides a structured way to make that choice, thoughtfully, intentionally, and with your workforce in mind, because meaningful progress begins with informed people. For more information, please scan the QR code on the screen.
I'm Noor Haish, President and CEO of Civic Connect. I volunteer my time with Bridges Niagara, where we help newcomers navigate their career paths here in Canada. Career guides work with individuals and groups where we help them understand the local job market, build confidence, and strengthen their applications. We often act as a sounding board, translating their international experience into local relevance. I strongly believe that professionals from across various industries can meaningfully affect the local workforce and community by volunteering in time with Bridges Niagara.
To support our programs, services, and events at Bridges Niagara through donations and sponsorship, please scan this QR code.
Much. It is a great pleasure to actually introduce a national leader in applied education, workforce development, and really preparing our next generation of talent to support Niagara's economy. A gentleman who doesn't need any introduction, but let me do it. President and CEO of Niagara College, Sean Kennedy.
Well, it is a pleasure to be here this afternoon for what I know is a highly anticipated fireside chat. I am proud to be president of Niagara College, an organization that is truly intertwined with every aspect of the Niagara region. Our programs in health, technology, agriculture, environment, business, hospitality and tourism, technology, trades, community services means that we're training early childhood educators, nurses, dental hygienists, technologists that are working in advanced manufacturing across this region. We're supporting the agricultural industry, and of course the hospitality and tourism industry, and so many others. And what is ever clear to me is the importance that we continue to evolve our programming to meet the needs of tomorrow's workforce, to produce Monday morning ready graduates that we're so well known for and that we're so proud of. There's not anywhere you can go in Niagara where you won't run into a Niagara College alumni making a difference, because we are directly tied across our 120 programs to every sector in this region. And I also know how important it is for us to work with all of you, with government, our business partners, with community agencies, to ensure that we continue to evolve as a region. When Niagara works together, when we dream about what's possible, we are stronger. I am incredibly excited about the future for this region. I look forward to having Niagara College be part of that exciting future. And we'll continue to evolve our programming. A couple of examples, we're actually introducing 6 new programs this fall, and a couple I think really speak to our trailblazing nature. One is in cybersecurity, clearly something that's on everyone's mind. And the other is the first program of its kind in Canada, Defense Systems Technology, directly connecting the new federal government's priority, and I think for all of us, our collective priority as Canadians to ensure that we have strong defense systems and are able to really, truly feel sovereign and independent. And I think our new Defense Systems Technology program is a great example of us responding to emerging social, government, and business needs. I will now turn I don't know, I assume Mishka's nearby, and I do want to just do a quick shout out to Mishka. Mishka's former chair of our Board of Governors, someone that I think has been such a strong business leader and helped to, is such a catalyst for change and great dialogue and conversation. I'd like to, can we just give it up for Mishka and the Greater Niagara Chamber of Commerce? I see she's over my shoulder. Kind of reminds me of when she was chair of our Board of Governors. Happy to turn the floor over to Mishka for what I know will be a very interesting fireside chat. Thank you, everyone.
So thank you so very much, actually, for being with us today.
May I interrupt you for 1 second?
Yep.
Just say something? I'm up here as Bob Gale right now. I'm up here as Chair Bob Gale. These are my thoughts coming out of here. Number 2, I have not given an interview since I became Niagara Regional Chair. I'm on a mission, and I apologize to, I know CHCH and others were trying to interview me here. Out of no disrespect, if I say a long sentence, it could be cut down. I'm here to do things. I'm not here to get votes. I'll let Matt Cisco and Jim Diodati go over the media stuff, but I apologize to all the media. I'm not giving interviews, sorry.
Excellent. Thank you so very much for letting them know. But I'm really glad that you're agreeing to be with me here this morning or today. Niagara and the world is navigating global uncertainty. We are hearing about tariffs, trade tensions, CUSMA negotiations, not to mention the cost pressures, which you mentioned in your speech as well, and inflation-related pressures that we all are facing. And if we are not facing them individually, we know that the next generation is currently facing it. And I think to start out today, let's go a moment back to last night's council meeting, just in case some people in this room, although I don't think there are many who haven't watched it or haven't heard about it, but last night Regional Council approved that a governance review to be initiated. Yep. And you mentioned it in your speech as well. It was a lively discussion. When you listen to the conversations, I listen to the conversation as well, is what problem does Regional Council actually trying to solve? If you summarize it, what you heard and what you're saying, like here are really the issues that Niagara has that we need to address. Is it the speed of decision making? Is it the cost of services? Does it have to do with accountability? If you would just summarize it in your own words, what would it be?
I'll make it short. Efficiency. Is efficiency from saving money? Is efficiency from having less time on getting permits to get things done? Is efficiency from getting government out of the way, as we talked earlier? That's the biggest word of all. And how do you get to that? I was at council, I don't know if it was Niagara Lake or Fort Erie, and they were talking about how their politicians aren't costing much. And that's not the issue here. Certainly we have too many politicians. And at Regional Council, we have 32 councillors trying to get a decision with 32 people in the room. But regardless of that, it's the efficiency of everything we do, the services we provide. So just go with that word.
I think it's a good word. When we had looked back, like from a GNCC perspective, I look back at the consultations that took place in 2019 and 23 and so on. And when we asked businesses and we asked our membership to saying, what is the answer to it? The answer was never about what the structure should look like. It was about efficiencies and effectiveness. The best services at the best price is what people were looking for all of Niagara. There has been considerable scrutiny surrounding recent decisions and the process probably that we have gone through. Hindsight is 20/20, and I can say I've been there often enough. In hindsight, what would you have handled anything differently, and how will you increase transparency in future directions?
You're talking in the last couple weeks?
Yes.
People aren't going to be happy with my answer. I would have done nothing different. I put guns to our heads. If you don't do that, something's wrong. But ask me 6 months from now. Ask me years from now. I'm looking at Rob Foster right now. And Rob, I'm not trying to stand you out, but he has a business mind on our council. He knows what I'm doing on this. And if I'm asking for this, if I can get this, I'm pretty happy. So if the efficiency is finding ways to save money, but you don't reduce politicians, okay. If efficiency is amalgamations, okay. I never put it there that I wanted these things, but damn it, we got to do something on it. So I guess I answered your question.
I think you did, actually. And I think when I looked around the room, and I've spoken to many people here, I think the sense that there's an opportunity for us in Niagara to look at it, to scrutinize it, to ask ourselves the difficult questions. I think that the majority of this room actually would agree with that. And on that note, many of you had supplied us and provided us with questions that you felt were relevant. And I want to touch base on some of them. And they're really economically driven, most of them. Okay. You mentioned it not only today, but also previously, that 44%, I think, of water and 49% of wastewater facility assets are rated either poor or very poor. Only 21% of water, 32% of wastewater investment needs are currently funded, and that spoke to your gap that you have. If we would ask you, I do ask you, what are the top 3 infrastructure priorities right now, and what would be the timeline that you want to see, that we need to advocate for, we need the upper levels of government, that we need to look at here in Niagara to make a difference?
The biggest one I've got is, first off, is Niagara South wastewater plant. It has to get done. Now, the funding was supposed to be, I believe, third. Jimmy Diodati will help me on this, but we're waiting for the federal government to come to the table. Provincial government will come to the table if the feds do. And the municipality certainly has money in the game, and we're talking, I don't know if it's 400 million, 500 million. Once you get up that kind of money, it's too high. But that helps Thorold, that helps our whole south end, that helps so much there. So that's number one. I won't spend all the time on it. Other infrastructure, drinking water. Everybody tells me about the pipes. We are personally responsible as politicians if we don't provide proper drinking water, and that's rightfully so as a result of what happened in Walkerton years ago. And I'm told how bad things are with the pipes throughout the region. Now, I know some cities are going to say their infrastructure is great, but we've got problems with fixing all these things. So, we have to have a plan. Ron Tripp's a great CAO. I'm sure they'll come up with a plan. Just the money for these things is going to be tremendous, and I don't want to tax our future with this. I'd really like to go up to Toronto and sit down with Doug Ford and others there. You know, I know them, and just say, we've got our house in order. Please help us. You got to help us. $2.7 billion. How do you come up with that? Third, I guess it would be roads. I'll probably come up with something when I go back to my chair, but I'd say it's roads and taking care of roads and the duplication on the roads. Cities take care of this, region takes care of this, ministry takes care of that. We can't go with that. We can't go with a plow coming and lifting up their plow and going across the street. We can't go with potholes around. Some roads on some cities are wonderful. I look at Willoughby Drive in Niagara Falls, sorry, Jim, but places like that. So we got to get rid of the duplication, and I'll always come back to efficient.
Yeah. Thank you so very much. Actually, the priorities that you've pointed out are pretty much the priorities that people have identified too, and the examples that you've given, I think, resembles that as well. You have taken time with the support of your regional council to review the budget before going back to regional council to look for that. And there's always a question, and I think you would look at it probably through the eyes of a politician, and I think through the eyes of a business person. Where do you invest in? Do we need to invest more in new infrastructure, or are we actually needing to look at the backlog that we have in existing one? How do you find that balance as we're moving forward, especially when you're talking about that significant gap?
Every politician will try and give you an answer. I'm different. I don't know. I'm going to turn to Ron Tripp and the staff and say, show me the priorities we have to keep the safety of everything we're doing. That's my only answer. I'm too new to say we got to fund this, we got to fund that, and come up with money to do it without taxing you all.
You know what, I actually appreciate that answer, because the staff behind the 126 politicians that we have here municipally, the staff are the ones that hold the data, that hold the evidence, that have the information that's there, and we do need to rely on it to make the best decisions for Niagara. I think the experts are there and they're by our side, and I think it's good when we respect that kind of voice that comes forward.
Thank you.
For the group here, many people over the years, we've talked GO Train. So I thought I'm going to lean on you on this one. Businesses and residents have been calling for better GO Train service to Niagara that makes communities and commuting to here and from here so much more feasible for so many people. Niagara has held up their bargain of it. We've put a lot of investment in areas of it where the provincial government had asked us to invest in. With your connections to Queen's Park and MPP Oosterhoff sitting very, very close to us here, do you see that service being delivered in the near future?
Right off the bat, when I got put in as Niagara Region Chair, went from Niagara Parks to Niagara Region, Sam said to me, please come up to Grimsby, take a look at the GO Train station here that we're proposing and things like that. GO Train, we need something to bring people down to Niagara Falls and Grimsby and St. Catharines. The timing of the GO Train is wrong. The first train that gets in every day, or at least on weekends, in Niagara Falls is 11:34 in the morning. So you're coming down from Toronto for a day at the Niagara Parks. I know the Niagara Parks people are happy I'm saying that, but you're coming down for the day and you get there at 11:34 in the morning, and I don't know what time the train goes. I talked to Michael Lindsay, that's the name of the man? Michael Lindsay that runs it, a great guy, and I said, can we get trains down here at 8 in the morning? And can we get more trains? I mean, Jimmy's all over this, and so is Matt, and so is all the mayors along. But there's problems with the corridor, and there's 2 freight trains, I guess, coming down the train track that goes by Fireman's Park. You know the train track I'm talking? 2 freight trains. When I was a kid, there seemed like one every 5 minutes. So the government, I know, is analyzing possibly doing a deal like they did in Kitchener of buying the tracks. These things are going to take years. So what I have to do, and others, there's a full team here, from the Niagara Parks to the City of Niagara Falls, City of St. Catharines, Grimsby, all of them trying to get 2 GO Train to bring more people down. First GO Train, I think on Labor Day when I was chair of the Niagara Parks, David knows better than me, but I'll say it was 2,000 people on the first train. We could haul 600 or 700 people on a WeGo bus on a round trip from the train to the parks. So there were a lot of people that were waiting for it. Let's get more trains coming down here for it. But I also know the value of money on this. So that's where I've got a lot of things to go up to Toronto to talk to them about, but I've got issues down here that I brought on myself with amalgamation and things like this. I told my wife that she's not going to see me much on this, and she's not. So I'm everywhere. I've been everywhere. I think I've been to every council. I think I got 2 more to go. I just have been going everywhere. But going back to GO Train, we need things to bring people down. We've got the Hoverlink people here with the hovercraft coming over. I'll talk about the airport too. We've got the airport. These are all our future. The issue is none of us want to see that Burlington Skyway. So I'm hoping Grimsby will have a big parking lot there. And instead of going to Burlington to hop on the GO Train, you'll go to Grimsby until we get our problems fixed with trains down here. I hope I didn't speak offside Jim Diodati if I can see it. Am I good, Jim? Okay, thanks. We're good.
We're good. Excellent. I want to move it for a moment to housing and what the future of Niagara looks like, and then actually bring it back to elements that have to do with transportation. So right now in Niagara, we have about 500,000 residents here, and the Niagara official plan says in about 25 years, so 1 generation from now, we're going to be at about 694,000 residents, 272,000 jobs. That is exciting on the one side to some of us in the room, and extremely scary on the other hand of it. We have currently a rental vacancy of 4%. But when we look at it, Niagara is not different than many other municipalities in Canada. We lack housing options. We lack options for seniors to downsize, families to move up, and especially younger households to enter stable ownership. What is your position? We have only a limited number of levers, but what is your position on development charges, and should they be kept low to encourage new housing builds, or does growth need to pay for growth, as some people say?
I'm glad you brought up development charges. I understand the cost. The residents shouldn't have to pay for that big building beside you, but we have to be reasonable for that big building beside you. A man contacted me last week about a hotel in St. Catharines, and he said he's paying $1.6 million on development charges. And I said, if it's reasonable, I can't see how 1.6 million is reasonable, but I didn't even know anything about development charges when I got elected 11 years ago, 12 years ago, whatever it was. Now I know them so well. I know Burlington gave a 2-year reprieve on development charges. We can't do that. We've got $2.7 billion of infrastructure to pay for. But there's got to be a better way, because to spur on houses, we have to get permits quicker, and we have to look at our DCs. Now I know the government is giving us grants. Sam would tell you all about that if he was up here, giving grants on getting houses built faster. That's what we have to do, because it's stalled. I talked to a business developer in Grimsby, and he went, rightfully so, off on me to go to the government and say, can we do this? It's hard to eliminate development charges, but I know I'm going around in a circle here, but that's where I have to sit down with the government. I told my staff that do the math, find out from the government, if we get rid of development charges or something like that, do we get the same offset from the government if we build these houses faster? I'm new on this. When I became chair, I'm pretty good at not getting involved in things I'm not supposed to be. I wasn't on public health committee. I wasn't anything to do with housing at the region. Then all of a sudden I'm chair of the Niagara region, and I got to wisen up. On December 24th, I went in there, Ron knows, and into the parking lot at the region. I sat there for 8 hours going through papers, going through reports and that. I was the only car in the parking lot. I took a picture and sent it up to the minister, and I said, it's lonely to be at the top. But I was looking at everything I'm missing, and I wish I had paid attention for the last 10 years, because I didn't know I was going to be chair. So as far as housing, we have to produce the incentive for builders to get them done quicker on this, and that's where I'm looking at Sam to be helping me down the way, because there's a man with the connections that I need. Sam's less than half my age. He's got the wisdom of twice as me, which might not be much with twice as me, buddy, but we're good.
Okay, thank you very much. I want to talk about a couple of sectors that drive our economy, and we have them here. So one of them, I want to go back to the exciting announcement in December by the province about Destination Niagara.
Yeah.
And the goal, and especially in your role as past chair of the Niagara Parks Commission, I think this is something that's probably extremely close to your heart too. The forecast is to grow our visitors from 13 million and to double that size that we have. And one of the things is that we want to make sure that when people come down here, they don't only spend 1.2 days here, but that they expand and lengthen their stay that they have with us. What is the plan to shift the demand in maybe also to shoulder seasons, not have only all of it taking place in the summertime in the key months, the 5 or 6 months that we have, but what's the opportunity here to actually lean more on the shoulder seasons without overwhelming our local infrastructure? Because there again, coming back to infrastructure, there's a cost to the infrastructure to make it happen.
I know that forever we've talked in Niagara Falls that we can get people here in June through September, but we need the people here in January and February. They have the Winter Festival lights and things like that. But the projects we've had, and I was tasked with this, I didn't know why they put me on the Niagara Parks Commission as chair. I really didn't. I have a habit of going in there, and I scare a lot of people when I come in because you go with a clipboard around, you look at stuff, but Niagara Parks is a wonderful organization, I'll tell you. And David Adames and them down at the back, it was a wonderful organization to be in. But boy, I was looking for why I was there, and I was there for projects, I found out afterwards. On December 18th, I was made chair of the Niagara region. On December 16th, Doug Ford was down, and we announced, and Sam and everybody, we announced over $1 billion of projects in the Niagara Parks. And we were gonna get the tenders going, we were gonna get it going. But the Niagara destination strategy is, the way it was explained to me by them, because I said, Niagara Falls, people in Alabama or Europe and that are coming to Niagara Falls. But if other places, Port Colborne, other places can win from that, let's go. So they said Niagara Falls is the hub, spokes go out. And I get that on this, but the projects we have, this Trump thing is killing us because we can't plan anything on this, on getting projects done. Will be a better time. I'm old enough to know that the world goes around, but to have Doug Ford beside me and Sam, you remember the time we were there and we were looking at projects, and the comments you made and the comments that Doug made beside me, I was thinking, man, do they ever care on this? Doug Ford came down on December 15th and came right into Oak Hall, first premier coming into Oak Hall. And understand, I don't kiss anybody's butt. I mean, he's my boss, I get it. But for him to come into the Oak Hall, first premier ever that they can find in history, coming into Oak Hall and look at these projects. Then we go down there, we're unfolding plans. Jimmy knows, he took a picture of me in there and he says, this is Bob in utter bewilderment. Because Doug's saying, what are you putting here? What are you putting there? And thank God I had the answers, but David was there for the answer. David Adames is the life of the Niagara Parks on it. Not criticizing you, Tom and Cinna and all them, but it's a great organization. So the Niagara Destination Strategy encompasses a lot of things. It's not just people thinking that there's casinos coming, it's bringing people to the falls. And Jimmy Diodati is the biggest advocate for Niagara Falls on this stuff. It's hard to keep him down on this. I thank God he's a friend, but because if he is an enemy, I would be out of here. So I don't know if I answered your question, but I just went off.
You gave us a sense of it.
You
I
got
think
it.
we're good with that part of it. We have at the Chamber, we have a number of advisory councils. One of our advisory councils is Next Niagara, and I just want to point this out because you pointed out to having your grandson in the audience. I'm going to point to table 55 because I'm joined by my son here today, which is not normally the case, so shout out to Sebastian at 55. And then a shout out to our Next Niagara Council, because they often speak about growth is great, but what role does sustainability? Can we sustain it or not? Is that what we want to see or not? And those are issues that are often really close to your heart. They're close to all of our hearts, but I think the young generation are the ones that are actually voicing it. What are your thoughts on it? Does the region play a role when it comes to sustainability, to keep it in mind? Is it part of when we look at projects and saying, like, are we applying the lens of sustainability to them?
We have a great region, we have great staff, but sometimes the government getting involved to solve things gets in your way. I'd rather have private people take care of things. And I don't know if I'm fully answering your question, but the private sector, we should monitor them and have them do things like that for sustainability and items like this. I look at all the things we're doing as a government, I'm thinking there's businesses out there that can do these things. So I'm not clear on my answer on that question. I think I've given it to you. I support private business. Everybody knows that. I was a private business person. This is still working. Is this on still?
Can you hear?
Can you hear me?
Yes,
okay.
In the back, yeah.
But that being said, I'm not knowledgeable enough. If I'm fortunate enough to be the chair next year, I'll have a better answer for you on a lot of this stuff because I'm still going around like social services. I didn't know anything. I see the group over there from social services, and they're a great group. They've educated me on a lot of stuff, but there's too many things that we're involved in the region that I have to spend many months understanding, but I understand that our costs are too high, so my pedal's to the metal and let's go.
And I think from a chamber perspective, we've always actually appreciated partnerships that we have. I think that when the private and public sector actually work together, because the private sector is investing in innovation, is investing in areas that we maybe for a public sector, just because of the size alone, can't do. But when I look at organizations across Niagara that are innovative in it and sustainably focused, I think it's always encouraging. So if we lean on each other, I think we have the answer. It's that collaborative approach to it. I want to come back, and I promise to come back to infrastructure because I want for a moment to talk about the Niagara District Airport expansion and seeing how it fits into your goal and in the goal that is set out to actually double Niagara's tourist visits. Can you give us a sense of what you are hoping for when you're saying, like, I'm looking 5 years down the road, and I think maybe the Niagara District Airport has the ability to be a fully functioning airport, maybe differently than what we see right now?
So I'm hoping I'm saying this right because I'm looking at Jim Diodati there. Jim, we're the biggest area in Canada that doesn't have an airport, correct? I got it right. So nothing's the end all. I'll say GO Train's not the end all, Hoverlink's not the end all, the airport's not the end all, but they all come together. We need them all to help. I know that they're planning on extending the runway in Niagara Lake, at least that's the talk. I know they're talking about bigger planes coming. I don't know planes, but anything to bring more people here for the benefit of Niagara, I'm for on it. So
I think it's an opportunity too, and I think from a Chamber's perspective, we really do support it, and especially as we're exploring it. We spoke a little bit about tourism. Tourism employs around about 40,000 people in Niagara. Manufacturing comes close second at around 27, 29, and I'm looking at Blake to give me a number, but I think I'm roughly in the ballpark there, give or take. We have had our Niagara's ECDEF departments at a municipal level and at a regional level have been extremely successful in attracting manufacturing to our area, in supporting it, and it's been actually extraordinary to watch with the attractions of SAIKSA, the expansion of Jungbunslauer and other organizations that we have. But it's a tough time for that sector. It's an uncertain time, and maybe it hasn't cost the sector very much, but maybe we also haven't seen the investment that we would have liked to see in others. So there's a reservation that exists. Is there anything that the Niagara region can do to make sure that we stay competitive when it comes to the manufacturing area of it? And anything else, anything that we can do to support the initiatives of the ECDEF departments?
any support we can give for the local businesses, because I know especially the restaurant organizations are suffering big time. The owners are working in the restaurants. All businesses are finding it tough. And I know from private business. I mean, you'll see ads on the TV saying it's great, hire workers and all this bit. But the reality is it's tough with our laws the way it is. I'm not knocking the workforce here. I'm just saying I know business, and I got to choose my words wisely here. That before if you can find a computer to do it rather than hiring somebody, you're going to do something like that as a business. We have to support the businesses any way we can to get them grants, to get them anything to start up, keep going, knock on the doors, see how they're doing. From the big plants to the little places on Queen Street in Niagara Falls, St. Paul Street and St. Catharines and the other streets around. And that's what I would like to. That's where we met with economic development at the region, and I know that I think that should be handled more at the cities. I think your cities have your finger on the pulse on that. But economic development in the region should be involved in the big ones coming in. So that's where I'd like to get more into, but then again, I've only been there 2 months, but I'd like to find out, it's ROI. When I went to Wainfleet to talk to their council, I said to them, I guess my motto would be ROI with a social conscience. So in other words, return on investment, because I'm a business owner, that's what I look at, but also you got to care for the needy, whatever words you want to go with on this. So that's what I want to go by, but we have to realize there's people that can't afford what we're doing now, what we're doing with taxes and that, so we have to knock it down any way we can, and everybody's going to have to partake on this. All of us are going to have to suffer a little bit on it. We've had it good, and I blame people like me at 71 years old for hurting people like my grandson over there for his future, so we got to get our act together.
Thank you for that. We talked a lot about what Niagara needs to improve, where we need to see the changes we want to see. I want to ask you, what are you confident about Niagara? When you look at Niagara and saying, like, I'm confident that Niagara can win at these things, because I just know the pulse of Niagara. I've lived here, I made my life here, I raised my family here, and when I look at it, I'm thinking, this is what gives me confidence in Niagara. What gives you confidence?
I love going for drives, as I said earlier. Vera and I will go to Wainfleet, we will go anywhere, just driving around and seeing the different communities. And that's where we go back to the amalgamation talks and that. I recognize the small communities. I love downtown Ridgeway. Mm-hmm. You know, there's certain places that I key on it and we go to. And I'm not trying to get into amalgamation talk here, but you know, we have to realize there's change coming. If you don't change, people, we have a problem. The next community will change. The next region will change. You'll have to change on this. So accept some. Your heart's in the right spot for your communities on this. Look for representation. Look for people that will stand up for you on these communities. Sounds like I'm advocating for amalgamation, but I'm not. I'm just saying, if you can find efficiencies, we don't have to have double staff from the government standpoint, I'm talking. We don't have to have double staff on anything. I'm going to do it at the region. They know it's coming on this, and I've got a team with us. I'm looking at Rob Foster. You're looking down, Rob, but we're going to be getting on this stuff, looking at efficiencies at the region. I think the province, the common denominator when I went around to the councils was the region's too big. The region's got too many politicians. You're right, but also get your house in line too. It's not my responsibility. Municipalities are not my responsibility. One of the questions in my letter to Rob Black was waste and stuff like that. One of the questions was, are you saying about the municipalities? No, I don't know the municipalities. You can give me a lot of questions on municipality, and I won't get it right, but we all have to get our house in order from a government. I remember how critical I was in the 80s and 90s running a company. Now I'm in charge. So I think you should be fearful with me being there, of being efficient. Don't laugh at me, Rob. That's true. Okay.
That sounds very good. You know what, I listened to you, and I listened when you mentioned in your speech, and you mentioned again here, the drives that you take with your wife, and when you look at the community and what it has to offer, I am always in awe of actually the generosity of Niagarans and what they give back, and the courage that they show, and the investments that they're making and making their home. It is always wonderful to see, and I think this is really what you touched on too. I think Behalf Niagara has the spirit for it, and that we love it. I want to finish up with a question, and it's about you at one point in your life transitioned out of business into politics. And I was wondering if, as you made the change, and we have seen that change in many politicians, and current politicians too, at all levels of government, that are making the change. What was one or two of those defining moments that you would say, I'm taking this from the past with me, but this is a defining moment as I'm moving forward?
So bear with me. You're going to find this interesting, but it's going to take a few minutes. As you know, I was a cop in the 70s. In the 80s, I took over the oil company. I ran that for many years. And we were philanthropic, like a lot of places. I got a call in about 2002, and it was Bob Dancy from CGRN. I'm not trying to throw names, good guy. And he said, I'm on the air right now with Mr. Gale, and I'd like to know, are you worried about your $200,000? I believe it was $200,000. I said, what are you talking about? And he says, you donated $200,000 to the GNGH emergency unit upgrade. I said, why should I be worried? He says, it's sitting in a bank account. And I said, really? I think I gave that a year ago or something like that. It's in the bank account. So I thought, geez, I got to join that board. I got to see what's going on. So I joined the GNGH Hospital Foundation Board. Good people. But then I saw the money was sitting there, and I had the same way I did things then. That spurred me on to look at different things. During that meeting, I think the premier at the time, the premier at that time was Dalton McGuinty. And fast forward, they were fixing up the GNGH emergency room, and I did a lot of things to get it going, my personality. And he met me at a dinner at the casino in about 2003 or so, and he said, we are going to have a shovel in the ground this spring. I said, so spring ends on June 20th. I think it's 20th. I think the 21st is summer. So I marked it down. So I said to him, when he said that announcement, because government hates dates. If you ever write into the government, make sure you get a date. We're going to be there in a month. So you'll be there by April 1st. You know. So I said to him, so you're going to have a shovel in the ground by June 20th. The shovel was in the ground on June 20th. I don't believe that would have been there if I hadn't brought that up. So then I started thinking, I got to get more active on this. I'm sorry, I'm taking your time. Then Kim Crater calls me. Kim, you looking at me, buddy? So he calls me and says, Bob, I'd like to put you on the Niagara Parks Commission. Everybody knows where I'm going with this story. And I said, I don't need to be on the Niagara Parks Commission. I don't need any celebrity stuff. And he said, we'd like you on the Niagara Parks Commission. We'd like you to look at some of the things there. And everybody knows my track history there. I uncovered a lot of stuff there, a lot of corruption there. I don't mind telling some of the stories here. I'm not going to give you names, but booze being taken from the Queenston Heights wine cellar there. Commissioners paying for roofing by booze from the Queenston Heights wine cellar. I can go on and on, but the biggest thing was when Tim Parker from Ripley's called me one morning, and I ran the oil company, we were filling generators. He had had a fire at Great Wolf Lodge. And he said, Mr. Gale, I'd like to talk to you. You're the honest one. And I said, thank you, what do you mean? And he said, are you aware of our phone calls to the Niagara Parks? I said, I don't know who you are or what you're talking about. He said, I knew you didn't. He said, do you know that we would like to tender on the Maid of the Mist? And I said, no. And my heart sank because I knew we were involved in meetings at that time to tender out or to give the Maid of the Mist lease to the existing users. And I said to Tim, this would be in about March because I was on a ski trip in Vermont and I drove back for a meeting because of this. And he said to me, we were there in December. We were told we weren't allowed to tender. I said, but I'm the commissioner in charge of retail, I guess it was. And David knows this whole story. I'm not embarrassing the Niagara Parks here because these people weren't involved. They're good people. But so I came back and I said, so you met with the chair and others there to tender, and they said no. And he said, yeah, and I wasn't told. And he said, I guess not. So then I started fast forwarding. I started blowing up everything I could. There was an article in the paper. I knew I couldn't take my bats and run. I couldn't leave the Niagara Parks and go and resign. That would be the wrong thing to do. So I got together with some of the press, and I resigned as commissioner of advertising or whatever it was. And then the article in the paper, why is Bob Gale resigning? And it went on and on. Then some of the stuff came out of different things, of money in envelopes, things like this. All the horror stories you can think of that never hit the press. Thank God the New York Times covered it, and then the Globe and Mail covered it, and headlines. A lot of people know the stories there. Fast forward, I'm in the 10-men in a tent with Jimmy and others, and we're confined there for 5 days. It's a charity that we had for 10 men in a tent, and they blew up the Niagara Parks board that week. CBC comes down, everybody comes down. Jimmy and I are in the tent. He's just getting elected mayor. I've just blown up the Niagara Parks, and we're there for the charity. We made $306,000, Jimmy, and for Project Share, but everybody was all over us, and we're thinking, what have we done? Then the tender came. Maury is here from Hornblower, I believe, and he said that that made $350 million for the taxpayers, the new tender for Hornblower when it came out, a fair tender, $350 million, but he says it's more than that, Bob. We're doing nighttime cruises, we're doing stuff like that. So whatever, I wasn't looking for credit if it was $1, but that woke me up to this. So then when my daughter Jess took over the business, I thought I might as well get into politics. Am I ever stupid? But regardless, I got elected as a regional councillor and went on from there. I was chair of the police board, and I will do what I think is right. I have business reasons for everything I do. You can see some things up there written about me. I have a reason on everything I've done. Some are confidential. I can't tell you. I will never tell you. It will hurt you because we have agreements in place. But I'm sorry, I'm taking all your time here. But that's what my claim to fame, that was tougher than this amalgamation talks and that, because I was one person against a whole board, against a province. I mean, Kim called me one time and he said, the Minister of Tourism wants to come down, he wants to meet you in a taxi in Niagara-on-the-Lake. And because it was so secret and I was blowing up everybody. I wasn't a liberal, conservative, NDP, anything like that. But they didn't want to be around me on this stuff. But I was on a mission. My kids knew how it destroyed our family. Not destroyed, but how tense it was at the time that happened. But I did it for Niagara and the Niagara Parks. Now this one here, don't get in my way for doing stuff on amalgamation or other things. I'm not saying I'm for amalgamation, I'm just saying I'm here for the right things. Boy, that was a long story, but I'm sorry.
Thank you so very much. That was an interesting transition from actually the private sector to political ones, and I'm not sure if anyone in the audience wants to put their name forward on May 1st when nominations are open for the municipal elections. But I think it is a stressful time. So on behalf of all of us here, we're conscious of the time. Thank you so very much for your leadership, for your time. And I have to finish by saying you should give some interviews to some media. It is actually, you know, it gives us a greater sense of the person behind some of the decisions and headlines that we're seeing. So we're very much looking forward to working with you throughout this upcoming year. And it is my pleasure to introduce Rebecca Shelley, Executive Director of the Grimsby and District Chamber of Commerce, to close today's State of the Region. Thank you.
Thank you, Mishka, and thank you, Chair Gale. Before I give my closing remarks, I'd like to take a moment to recognize the event partners, Niagara's business associations, our generous hosts, of course, the GNCC, who made today possible, the Grimsby and District Chamber of Commerce, the Lincoln Chamber of Commerce, the Niagara on the Lake Chamber of Commerce, the West Lincoln Chamber of Commerce, the Niagara Association of Realtors, the Niagara Construction Association, the Niagara Home Builders Association, and the Niagara Industrial Association. This year's State of the Region is powered by Penn Financial Credit Union. Thank you, Penn Financial Credit Union. And a heartfelt thanks, of course, to the generous sponsors who made it possible to bring an event of this magnitude to life. Today simply would not be possible without you. Penn Financial Credit Union, Niagara College, Walker Industries, Brock University, FedCap Canada, GTA Strategies, Electra Utilities, Enbridge, Ridley College, Bridges Niagara Immigrant and Refugee Services, Cron Electric, HOPA, the Hamilton Oshawa Port Authority, the University of Niagara Falls, Canada, YMCA of Niagara, Remax Niagara Realty, Critelli's Fine Furniture, Sheraton Falls View, Your TV, 610 CKTB, Soundbox Productions, and Dream 105.7. Thank you, partners and sponsors. So as Mishka mentioned, my name is Rebecca Shelley, and I have the extreme privilege of serving Grimsby's business community as the Executive Director of the Grimsby and District Chamber of Commerce. Thank you all for being here today and for being part of these important conversations, dialogues, and conversations. Thank you too to Chair Gale for taking the time to engage with us here today. It is profoundly important that Niagara's business communities be at the table as we navigate changes to municipal governance in our region. So, amalgamation. It is no longer the elephant in the room. I think it's potentially the bull in the china shop. I had the great privilege of attending Mayor Jordan's business breakfast yesterday in Grimsby, and I must commend the mayor and his team for bringing in Mary Rowe from the Canadian Urban Institute as the keynote speaker. She shared her truly riveting insights on community building and economic success. Her comments yesterday dovetail perfectly with one of the GNCC's principles around governance reform. The concept of place matters. Community identity matters, as Mishka has said. Regardless of what happens next, it is our collective opportunity and responsibility to ensure our local places continue to matter. For instance, and speaking very personally about my own backyard, if Grimsby, Lincoln, and West Lincoln become one administrative West Niagara unit, that doesn't mean that Grimsby Beach's Painted Ladies goes away. It doesn't mean that Lincoln's Beamsville Bench goes away. It doesn't mean that West Lincoln's strong agricultural identity goes away. It means that we have to find more, better, and purposeful ways to work together to preserve the feeling of our places. It starts with each of us, and it starts in small, intentional ways, something we've actually been doing for years now and that we need to keep doing, choosing and celebrating local. The boundaries, the lines on the map, are not what's important. Innovation, best practices, partnership, collaboration, they're not buzzwords. They are our lifeline as we chart new courses forward. It is more important than ever to work together to find common ground and encourage collaboration over division all around us. Collaboration, my favorite word, and a word you've heard many of the speakers here today, stress. This leads me, of course, to a huge and heartfelt thanks to Mishka and the team here at GNCC for their generous partnership. This is really a fantastic opportunity to collaborate with our peers and business organizations across the region. and a truly incredible example of the power of collaboration. Sincere thanks to everyone involved in making the 2026 State of the Region happen today. Oh, and Chair Gale, the next time you and your wife are spending some time together and taking a drive, we invite you to visit us in West Niagara. We'll take care of you. Have a great day, everyone. Thank you.